A woman stirs black tea with a teaspoon. Unbeknownst to the man, that crisp tinkling sound is a trigger planted inside his mind, one that can strip him of control over his body in an instant. The man's name is Chris, a black photographer. He is on his way to meet the parents of his white girlfriend Rose, his heart heavy with unease. His girlfriend tells him to relax. If Dad could vote a third time, he'd still pick Obama, she says. On the drive, they hit a deer. When the police arrive, they ignore Rose, who was behind the wheel, and march straight to Chris in the passenger seat to demand his identification. Rose fiercely stands up to the officer, which eases Chris's anxiety a little. Little does he know this is only the start of the performance. They reach the estate. Rose's family greets them with an eerie excess of warmth. Her father is a neurosurgeon, her mother a hypnotist, and her brother radiates an indescribable hostility. Stranger still are the black groundskeeper and housemaid working on the property, their eyes vacant, smiles rigid, as if their souls have been drained from them. That night, Chris steps outside for a cigarette, only to be caught by his girlfriend's mother. Claiming she wants to help him quit smoking, she stirs her black tea with a teaspoon and forces him under hypnosis. Amid the sharp clinks of the spoon against porcelain, Chris's consciousness plummets endlessly, falling into a dark abyss they call the sunken place. He can see everything around him, yet cannot move a muscle. Trapped inside his own body like a spectator with no say, the next day brings a lavish family party. Every guest is a wealthy white person without exception. They run their hands over Chris's muscles as if appraising livestock, dissect his genetic makeup, and debate whether being black is an advantage or a disadvantage. A veneer of polished civility masks unvarnished cruelty hanging thick in the air. Amid the chaos, Chris spots another black man, the only other person of color at the party. He hurries over to strike up a conversation, only to notice the man's equally bizarre, unnatural manner. He secretly snaps a photo, planning to send it to his friend for confirmation. The second the flash goes off, the man convulses into a seizure, blood pouring from his nose, and snarls at Chris with a contorted face. "Get out of here." Panic overwhelms Chris completely. He sends the photo to his best friend Rod, a TSA agent. Rod recognizes the man instantly. It's Andre, a hometown friend who vanished half a year prior. Rod's once absurd warning about white people hypnotizing black people to use them as sexual slaves suddenly rings terrifyingly true. Chris resolves immediately. He has to escape this place. Rose agrees to leave, and the two begin packing their luggage. But when Chris urges her to hurry and get in the car, Rose claims she cannot find the keys anywhere. Her entire family then slowly closes in, blocking every exit. The father rambles about divinity and eternal life, while the brother cracks his knuckles, ready for a fight. Desperate, Chris turns to Rose. She slowly pulls the car keys out of her pocket, her voice cold as she tells him, "Baby, I can't hand these over to you." The whole thing was a trap. The mother clinks the teaspoon against her teacup once more, and Chris freezes, unable to move an inch. He falls back into the abyss again. He wakes tied to a chair in the basement. On the television screen, Rose's grandfather lays out the full truth. They call it the Coagula Procedura brain transplant operation. They kidnap healthy black people and transplant the brains of elderly white individuals into their bodies, granting them a twisted form of immortality. The original owner's consciousness, meanwhile, is imprisoned forever within the sunken place. The blind art dealer is the one who purchased Chris. He does not want Chris's physical strength. He covets the photographer's eyes, trained to perceive beauty. The surgery is about to begin. Thinking fast, Chris tears a wad of cotton from a crack in the chair's armrest and shoves it deep in his ears. When the hypnotic clink of the teaspoon echoes out again, the sound cannot reach him. Unfazed by the spell, he pretends to be fully entranced before erupting into a brutal counterattack. He impales the father through the chest with a mounted deer head. He crushes his brother's skull under his boot. In a struggle with the mother, he drives a blade through her, killing her. He slaughters the entire family single-handedly. He flees behind the wheel, only to hit the black housemaid on the road. Racked with guilt, he steps out of the car to check on her. He does not know the grandmother's soul inhabits the maid's body. She snaps out of her stupor and lunges at him with a knife. At that moment, the groundskeeper charges toward him too, his body housing the grandfather's consciousness. A desperate idea strikes Chris. He flicks on his phone's camera flash. The blinding light stirs the groundskeeper's buried original identity to the surface. He raises a shotgun, fires it at Rose, standing beside them, then turns the gun on himself. Wailing police sirens draw closer and closer. Chris stares at Rose, lying bleeding on the pavement, and slowly wraps his hands around her throat. Despair crashes over him, a black man standing at a brutal murder scene, with no way to explain himself to incoming officers. Then the car door swings open, and his best friend Rod steps out. He arrived just in time behind the wheel of an official TSA vehicle. His quiet line, "I told you not to come here," is the only flicker of warmth in this nightmarish evening.